All right, everybody, we got Jason here from Canada.
Hi, welcome back to True Reality Disclosure. My name is Jason Apati, and I'm bringing to you episode number 2. Thank you for watching my first episode, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. If you like my content, that would be awesome. Alright, so I'm going to quickly recap a little bit of what we talked about in the first episode, and kind of bring this second episode right up to par with that. So I went into a little bit of my past, talked about more of my significant events, just very briefly. As I said, I am creating an autobiography myself, so I want to be able to go into full detail over all of these, just to kind of give the full picture there. But yeah, that'll be down the road, so look for that as well. But yeah, so I went through my events, kind of what it was doing to me in a sense, how I kind of fell back on alcohol and some drug use as well, just to kind of battle the emotions I didn't want to face at the time. So how that kind of affected my relationships around me, my friends, my family, girlfriend relationships, all of it. It just affected me as an entire person, and it wasn't really, I wasn't in a good place at the time. So I kind of realized at that point there was something inside of me that wasn't being dealt with. So this is kind of where I left off on the last episode. On this episode, I want to talk a little bit more about how that kind of felt, and then some of the processes I started to find out in myself, started thinking about of how I can deal with these events systematically in order for me to be able to fully release them. So so these are the processes I just kind of started to do. I'll go through that, and as well I'm going to touch on a little bit of the biology in a sense, because my next episode I want to go more into a little bit more science based, but I'm going to make it artful so it's easy to kind of follow along. So but yeah, that'll be next episode. Alright, so I think we're going to dive a little bit into where the emotions kind of seem to lay within myself. So within a lot of these events, obviously they're negative in emotion, but more, there's a lot of specifically anger, blame, self-blame, outside blame, self-worthlessness as well. There was a fair amount of that, and a sense of not belonging. A lot of these emotions were the heaviest set, and they just felt like they sat in the lower part of my gut. It just felt like that's kind of where they were located. It just felt weighty, heavy. I don't know. That's just kind of how it felt with me, just in the abdomen area anyways. So when I started realizing these events, I talked a little bit about this with my mother as well. Going through these, I blame myself for not having a seatbelt, or not telling her about her seatbelt, but I was only 2. So I started kind of prodding these events. So what aspects of these specific events triggered me? So I'm looking for triggers. As soon as I started bringing up a memory of that event, kind of rolling it out, like watching a movie in a sense. As I was watching it, I was paying attention to what part, when I got to a certain part, if it triggered me, okay, I know there's something there I need to kind of deal with. So then when I have that generalized area, then I can figure out, okay, what was it? What kind of emotion was tied to it? Was it the self-worthlessness? Was it the berating, or I don't know, anger, or just whatever might have been tied with it? And then I just asked myself, like, what would be the best way for me to kind of release it. And sometimes it was a conversation with the person, just to let them know how I felt. And sometimes it was just to apologize to people, just to say, hey, I realized I was doing this or I was acting this way, and I don't want to carry that anymore. So I'm sorry for that, for making you do that or endure that, if that was the case. I know for my alcoholism, there's some apologizing I had to do for sure. So there's no doubt about it. But in that process, by letting go, I'm releasing it from within me. What that means is, now when I go through these events and I release them as I was describing, now when I think about it, I can relay that whole image or memory, and there's nothing that triggers me anymore. And if there is, then I just know there's something else I have to figure out on that same issue. So I kept doing this over and over and over again through all of these events, to the point now where I can think of any specific detail of any specific event, and there's absolutely no emotion. As my first video kind of showed some of you, I was smiling and in a good sense of humor while describing to you these very traumatic events. That's because they don't control me anymore, and they're just stories now to me, eventful stories that have created me to where I am now, made me the person I am now, and awakened in a sense that I'm seeing more about life that I've never been able to see before. So all of this was a necessary process for me to get to this stage now. I see that clearly now, but it wasn't an easy journey, to say the least. There was it's not fun, and it's not easy, but it is so very rewarding going through this, and just if I could just show you what you could be like right at the end of this, then no doubt I know so many people would be like, oh yeah, I'm on board, okay, let's do this. But when I was going through this, one thing for sure is you're alone in this, because it's you that has to go through you. When I was doing this by myself, obviously, but it was literally by myself, talking to myself, just trying to comfort myself while I was going through this. Where nowadays there's so many more people waking up with this. Now people can support each other while they go through their process. And I mean support, just be there as a loving member, just, giving that love to somebody else that might be going through this or wants to go through this. So you can get more support nowadays because more people are waking up to this aspect. That I find amazing. But regardless of how or how many people around you, the battle is still yours and yours alone. So everybody anybody wanting to get into this has to have the determination that they want to be able to complete this and get back in control of your own life. So that's the biggest thing that I could say is, after going through all of this, there are no more events that I've had that it's just like a whole new me. Like I'm drinking, or when I was drinking, sorry, afterwards. I was still drinking during this process, but I was cutting back quite a bit. But even some of the weekends I might get a little tipsy. There was no mention of my past, except for maybe a couple times when someone asked about it or something. It was brought up in that sense, and it was just a story. But there was nothing similar to what I was going through before, where those emotions were just coming straight up and just taking control of me, and just, hey, there was no more of that. Plus, I felt so much happier. Like, I wake up energized, happy, and I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I just felt so rejuvenated in a sense. And the other aspect too is because I started going through all of these events, all of those thoughts that were always running around in my head and all over the place, they weren't there anymore. They were gone, because the emotions, those memories were dealt with, so there was nothing there. So now it was just like, it's not like you're smarter in a sense, but you just have clarity in your head where it's easier to pull up memories, thoughts, problem solving, think out critical scenarios, or just being creative. Like, however you want to use your brain, it just seems so much more easier to be to use, to be accessing certain parts of it or doing different tasks, whatever it may be. But that process in itself really kind of just stood out to me, because I know I always overload my brain. I'm always thinking, something I'm still trying to work on, but I was always drowning my brain out. And plus also being in the profession that I was in for the last few years or so, this really doesn't help, especially when you're trying to do critical thinking, detailed stuff, and all this stuff is washing through your brain. It wasn't really good. After going through all of this, now it's just like black and white. It's like, oh my God, I can think, I can do more tasks, I'm more productive and efficient in a sense. But on the larger side, I'm way more creative, I'm more happy, and I feel such a sense of relief within me too. I know I'll get into later on, my journey is still ongoing as well, but I'll explain more of that later on. The biggest thing is addressing and finding some of your bigger events, and then starting a path of a plan in order to maybe how you can go around possibly doing it. Contacting a few people, or even writing something out is very helpful to release some of the thoughts going out and get it on physical paper, especially just talking it out loud. Even just hearing it in the physical world sometimes helps too. It just gets it out of your head, out here. So whatever method might work for you, some of these options you can just do at home. They're all free. It's just you take a little bit of time to think about this, and see if it's time for you to take back your life, if that's how you feel. This is how I felt, and I would do everything the exact same way again in order just to get to the same spot, knowing what comes after releasing all of this stuff. So to recap, in general, what I want to say is reach out to somebody. If you need a friend or someone to talk to, if you're going to start doing this, maybe just have that friend or acquaintance or whoever it may be, or even just write it out yourself, or just take your own time in your own personal place and say it whatever you need to do. But you're not alone. There's so many people doing this right now, so don't feel weird, strange, or alone. There is a whole large community of people along this line right now, and more are waking up every day, going through this and realizing that their events just seem to keep coming at them lately, more and more aggressively within the last maybe few years even. This is all part of a larger scale something. I'll get into that in further episodes down the road, but right now there is a large chance that a lot of people are starting to see what they're neglecting come to face in random events more and more within the upcoming times. It's just how things are going. It's just how the energies are going. There's so much behind what's going on, but that's why I figured I want to start making these videos. So what I'm going to do in my following episode is I'm going to take more of a deeper dive into the human biology, how your cells kind of work with your environment. A lot of our situation and stances that we're currently in is also due to our environment that's around us, the people in our lives at the time, the places we're at, the jobs we're at, whatever it may be. There's a large range of what your environment can be to influence you. So what I want to do in my next episode is kind of show you how the cells react in a sense to your environment, and how this taking of reality or taking control of your reality really means in a scientific kind of level. But I'm going to bring it to you with I got a couple videos, I got a couple photos I'm going to show just to kind of give you a little bit of visual. Myself, I'm a visual learner, so there you go. But I'll be narrating during it as well, so yeah, I hope you enjoy, and that'll be coming out very soon, I should say. So be looking forward to that. As for this episode, I think I will leave it there. I hope you got some worth out of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, like I said, please hit like and subscribe if you feel like it. I'm going to continue on these videos because I really do believe that this is something I should be doing right now. Yeah, I just want to be able to help whoever I can, and the biggest thing is think for yourself. Even though I may go over some material that you do not agree with, just research, do your own digging, whatever it may be. That's all I can really hope for anyway. So thank you very much for watching. Peace be with you. I also wanted to mention quickly, if you like this material and you want to meet other like-minded individuals, there is a Camp Disclosure event going on in late August. I'll have a link down below, campdisclosure.com. There's going to be a stellar group of people there, an amazing lineup of speakers as well. You don't want to miss it. And because of the restrictions we seem to be under right now, there is also an option for webinars, so you can at least watch live if you prefer. So please check it out, campdisclosure.com, and hopefully we'll see you there. But yeah.
Hello everybody. I just figured I wanted to show you what I'm kind of working with. Without further ado, let's have a quick look at my studio. We got a nice stationary bike holding up my 70s looking lamp, and that is the majority of the light. For a telescopes stand that I just decided to tape, you can see it's taped, my camera that I videotape with. But yeah, that's where I do my shoots. And then yeah, my little digital station over here. If my face seems red or the colors seem a little off, yeah, more than likely it's probably because I'm only working with one light. So the videos will get better as time goes on, when I can afford more lights. Look forward to the change of scenery and some cleaner videos in the future. Thanks. Have a great one, guys.